Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Purpose by Design. You have a purpose by design. I am Dr. Pamela, and today we are continuing in our series, Wholeness and Health on what? Purpose. You can choose wholeness and health. And it has been so fun as we go through this series to hear from all the experts teaching us and giving us those life hacks and the tools of the trade as to how we can better our health on purpose. It's a choice that we have. Today is no different. I am so excited to share with you a jewel. And Min, I am so excited that you are here today. Yep, that's her name, Min. And you are going to love her. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Min, and then I'm going to turn it over for Min to tell us about her. Min and I met through a coaching accelerator. And what that means is a class online that we were in together. And I got to hear about her incredible story. And so Min, obviously, wholeness and health is, that's her niche. But specifically to women, and like which age group? All of them. If it's women's health, especially in the area of premenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and even we can back up to, hey, we're having a hard time getting pregnant. What do we do? Also, teaching people about reconnecting in their love life with their significant other. Powerful, powerful woman with a wealth of knowledge. So if you want to take your health or love in a whole nother direction of going upwards today in purpose, on purpose, you're at the right place. And if you think maybe, I don't know, stick around for give Min and I 10 minutes or so of your time, you are going to want to stay for the rest of this message today. So Min, hello.
Oh, hello, Dr. Pamela. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much. I feel so honored to be here. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. It's
We're
gonna
both
be
red.
yes, we got the memo. Very red. Love. Um
Love the
well,
color of power. So tell us, powerful woman, who are you?
yes, that is such an amazing question. I think we could spend our lifetime trying to really truly discover that. And but one thing I know for sure is that I am a beloved daughter, child of the Most High God,
Yeah.
and that Jesus loves me. And that's where I am. And that I know that I am me. I can bet $1,000,000 that I am always going to be me. When we come back to that core essence, I am me. And that is a question that the journey and where I came from and how I even came to holistic and health. And so I want to take you to a journey, a story where hopefully everyone can relate to how I even got here. And so my husband and I, we tried to conceive naturally, for 3 years straight, Dr. Pamela.
Wow.
And unfortunately, it didn't, it wasn't successful. And at that time, you think you start a family and everything's going to turn out just fine, normal progression. And after 3 years, you start to question. I started questioning my own fertility
Mm.
and what's going on, and I needed to have answers. So I went to my OB-GYN at the time. I told her, our situation. I've tried everything from, ovulation kits, tracking your, even I'll admit this, even my husband and we tried that turkey baster method. And that is the most unorthodox. I don't recommend it, and I'll spare you the details. But we tried everything. Um, and so, given my age, the doctor said, okay, let's go in there. We're going to figure out what's going on. And the laparoscopy came out that I had stage 4 endometriosis. And so, endometriosis is when your endometrial lining just pretty much everything was plastered outside my uterus, all over the fallopian tubes, the ovaries. And so, no wonder I couldn't conceive naturally. It was just totally blocked.
Wow.
And that also explained the chronic debilitating pain since I was a teenager.
Sure.
And I just thought that was normal, throwing up, not able to drive, just debilitating chronic pain. And so I had answers. And the doctor said, "Man, I'm sorry, the only way you're going to be able to conceive is through IVF."
Mhm.
And that, not being able to conceive naturally in itself, Dr. Pamela, was a grieving process because I
Sure.
never imagined that this was the news that I would hear. And then having to only do IVF, given that it's a very high out of pocket expense, my husband and I, we prayed about it, Lord, we're going to give it one wholehearted chance, right? If it works, then, we'll be so thankful. If it doesn't, then Tom and I can still love one another in different capacities. So either way, we just trusted God that He would guide us. So we did one round. That's all we did. It was a 3 months intense process. Daily injections, medications, surgery. I mean, it became a ritual. My husband and I, he gave me my injections every night. And it really bonded us, but it was very intense. Um, and so at the end of the 3 month process, you get that wait for that phone call to see if it was successful. And I'm walking to my car. And it was 2 days before my birthday, and I really remember it. And you're waiting and anticipating. Have you ever had that anticipation when you were waiting for this news that could change the trajectory of your life, Dr. Pamela?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I get the call, and I'm in the car, and the nurse calls. She's like, "Man, I'm sorry to tell you, there was no implantation. The IVF was unsuccessful." And that was pretty much kind of a grieving process that you have to process that. And you're like, I gave it everything that I had. Dr. Pan, have you ever cried the ugly cry? Like,
Now,
it's so ugly, and you just feel it on your face. You're so ugly. I mean, I probably cried the most ugliest cry and just wailing on the steering wheel. What do I do now? You know, it's,
okay.
it's I felt so much shame. Like,
Mhm.
women, we put on a lot on ourselves, right?
Yeah, we do.
Inadequacy. I'm not enough. I was mad at God, and if I'm being real, it's God, why me? Why am I going, it's not fair. So I asked myself, what do I do now? I know that I didn't want any more surgeries after everything I've gone through. Doctors couldn't guarantee, all I had left was this endometriosis that I had to deal with, and it's stage 4. I knew I didn't want to live with this the rest of my life.
No.
No more injections, no more medications, no more surgeries. I mean, I was done with all of that. So God was just, what do I do now, Lord? And He said, and I'm taking you on a journey back to yourself, self-love journey, because you've forgotten how to love yourself. And so that diagnosis, Dr. Pamela, was really my saving grace. It forced me to take care of me because I was living a life just trying to please everybody else and, make sure
Yes.
everyone was taken care of. And I was the last person on the list. So God really just forced me, "Min, you need to take care of this. You cannot continue living your life like this."
Mhm.
So he he said, "There is a way. There's a natural way." And when you pray, God hears you, and He, especially when you cry out loud to Him, He's so
Yes.
faithful. He's so faithful. Um, there's a natural way. So my mom and I, we researched. I knew there had to be, because with endometriosis surgery, it's a chronic condition. If you do excision, it's a band-aid over it. It
Right.
just, and women, they're getting surgeries after surgeries.
Yeah, it's true.
The, the pain still comes back.
Mhm.
And And even with birth control or any medication, you're just putting a temporary band-aid on it. You're just taking care of the symptom. You're not getting to the root cause. And with the chronic inflammation, whatever chronic condition you have, you need to nourish your body again. And so, thankfully, my mom and I, we researched that there had to be a holistic way. And when I made that decision that only I could be the one to make the changes, it first needs to start with you. Before I heal, I had to ask myself, am I willing to give up the things that made me sick? Was I willing to give up not trying to please everyone else? Was I willing to give up putting myself that it's not selfish? Was I willing to give up all the foods that I wasn't eating as healthy, as nourishing? Because I knew the foods that I ate was either going to be safe and powerful to nourish my body, or was going to be a slow form of poison.
Wow.
And being that stage 4 endometriosis, I was poisoning myself with the foods that I ate, and I didn't even realize. You don't know what you know until you know it, right?
Right, right.
And everything that I ate. So I had to change. I mean, with endometriosis, it's a chronic illness. You had to cut out dairy. You have to cut out red meats. You basically have to cut out everything that is not nourishing your bodies, all the processed foods. And I was notorious. I loved eating all of that, right? And especially red meat with endometriosis or any chronic condition. So I had to learn again. And again, it's either me, because no one can take the place of your sickness, right? I feel
Right.
that the hospital bed, Dr. Pamela, is the most expensive bed
Mm.
that anyone can lay. I mean, and when you're in there, no one can take that place. So I went in, and so I had to do what's called a cleansing, because with any chronic condition, your body is in a very acidic state. Your blood balance, it should be between 7.3, because our pH balance within our body should be either between 7.3 or 7.4. Your pH balance. It's called like acidity and alkaline levels. And my levels within my body within endometriosis was so acidic. That was the cause. And I couldn't conduce. It wasn't conducive to nourish a baby. It wasn't conducive to just be healthy. And so you have to go through this process of cleansing. And this works for any chronic, because our healthcare system, I feel that it's just treating the symptoms. It's keeping you as a lifelong patient. It's not getting to the root cause. And why, and especially for my own journey, how come my doctor didn't guide me on the right nutrition? How should I be feeding my, why is it, you need to ask yourself these questions. Why is it that the first thing is you're giving me these prescriptions? Why is it that you're telling me birth control? Why is it you're telling me I should do a hysterectomy? Why is it you're telling me that I should just do surgery after surgery? How come you're not telling me how to feed my body? How come you're not telling me how to nourish my mind, my thoughts, my
Yes.
mindset, Dr. Pamela?
Yes.
And so that is the acidic state. So when you are in this state, ask yourself, do you want to be on medication for the rest of your life? You don't have to be. You don't have to be. And my endo sisters right now and women, you don't have to be. And when you start taking your power back, advocating for your own health, because no one can advocate for your health except you. You are the best advocate for your health. Don't leave it up to the doctors. And again, I speak so much love to the doctors, because they saved my life with everything that I've gone through. But when it comes to your own health, you need to advocate. You need to take that power back and just make that decision for yourself out of self-love. You're not sacrificing anything when you're eating nutrient foods. It's more of an act of your sacred temple. Your sacred temple is yours to nourish. And when you see it from a standpoint of self-love and empowerment, and that you have full control of it, your mindset begins to change. It's not from external. The doctors, they truly sometimes they give their best, but They don't truly know you and what your body. So listen, women, to your own body, your own intuition. Whatever it is that's speaking, you have that power. And so the cleansing, you have to go through a 7-day cleansing. And this cleansing is basic, it's very simple. And I'm going to share that with you. And I feel led because I feel many people can be healed through this today. So I'm going to share this cleansing that I did. Okay. And
Yes.
if it helps you, then please try it. It's so simple, it's so profound. All it is 7 days. Your body, it needs to clear it out. So 7 days of brown rice. That's all it is. And you can get brown rice from your Asian supermarket. I love the Japanese brown rice because it's very very nutrient dense, potent. But brown rice, sesame seeds, and sea salt. That's all it is. Okay? So 7-day cleanse for your body. The sea salt with the sesame seeds, it's best if you buy the natural sesame seeds and you can roast it on the open pan, and then you'll put a little bit of salt and roast it, and you're going to nourish your body because yeah, right now your body is out of balance, and that is the best, most potent way, because the brown rice is very high in protein, because we worry that you're going to missing. And think of it as, instead of treatment of medication, the brown rice is your medication. So think of it that way, you
Mm,
know. So
yeah.
7 days brown rice, and you're going to eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is how you're nourishing your body. And if that's kind of, when you get hungry, that's all you can eat. So you're nourishing it in that sense, for 7 days. And then once the 7 days, your blood is going to begin to cleanse, because it takes 10 days. But for me, when I went on that journey, 7 days. And because it's also a mindset shift. Okay. Because if you think it's easy, it's easy. If you think it's hard, it's hard. Wherever your thoughts go, your mind follows. So if your brain has the capacity to heal itself, so when you think it's easy, it's gonna be easy. Oh, I can do this. I got it. If you think, oh
Yep.
man, it's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be so hard. If that's your mindset, then it is gonna be hard. So where's your focus? So that's what I had to kind of focus. I say, Lord, okay, this is gonna be. And again, I had to take control. I want to do this, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then so after that, you do the 7-day cleanse. You're going to feel immediate results. Your body's going to start changing. Your blood is going to start saying, the bad blood is going to circulate your system, because it takes, that's the cycle it takes for the blood to circulate out. And then from there, you're going to basically nourish it with leafy greens, continue the whole grains, leafy greens. 3 months is all it takes, really. 3 months. Leafy greens, whole grains. So when you start nourishing and educating yourself, so the women that I work with, they know exactly the leafy greens you eat, because leafy greens are so packed with nutrients. And think of it like a Swiss chard, kale, spinach. Do you see like how they have veins, Dr. Pamela, within the leaves itself?
Yeah.
I mean, food is our medicine, and our
True.
veins within our body, those are represented. So you're nourishing your body in that sense, whole, nutrient dense foods. And you have a love affair. You discover leafy greens again, collard greens, kale, spinach. It's just your mindset shift. I mean, you're nourishing your soul. It's a sacred temple. Then you're going to start nourishing. So you're going to be like feeling nourishment, right? But yeah, whole grains. Whole grains are packed with protein. And sometimes we feel, if I'm not getting the meat, the chicken, that's not a, but if you know, quinoa is packed with protein. Whole grains, brown rice, barley, flour, all of these are just packed with protein. Leafy greens, any kind of leafy greens, there's so many out there. And then after that, you do root vegetables. You're bringing in different root vegetables. Fruit is very acidic. Um, Sometimes we don't realize of the sugar content of it.
Yeah.
So within the sugar, the oranges, the apples, it's very acidic as well. So a lot of times, women, we think we're eating fruits, and nourishing because the sugar content is also impacting our health too. Okay.
Right.
Any questions right now, Dr.
Oh
Pamela?
my
I just want to
gosh,
make
I
sure.
am loving all of this. Okay, so yeah, a couple of questions. I'll start here with the cleanse. Is there a certain amount that you think that women should be having? So for that 7 days when they're doing the brown rice, the sesame seed, and the sea salt, how much brown rice do you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or does it not matter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't matter as long as it's filling you. So I usually like a bowl, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the sesame seeds in the sea salt. That's like your topping in a way. And you're
Okay.
just gonna eat it with it. But yes, a bowl, however it is, so that way your body is satisfied for breakfast. It's
Oh,
not very rigid, but when you get hungry, just eat some more of that. Just that's really much all you're eating for the 7 days.
so again, you don't make it hard. Just you're going
No.
to eat this for 7 days. When you're hungry, eat it.
Yes, that's all.
Okay,
It's
that
so
makes it
simple.
easy.
Mhm.
And then you said for 3 months, you go into the leafy greens and the whole grains.
Yes, so
While
for the
out there.
after the 7 weeks, then you begin the leafy greens with the whole grains. So it's just leafy greens, and then the next month is when you incorporate root vegetables.
Root vegetables. So
Carrot, yes,
we get done with the 7 days. We go into leafy greens and whole grains
for the
for
for the month for 1 month. So that 7 day with leafy greens and whole grain is the month. Hmm.
okay. So 1 month adding that. And then month 2, you add in the root vegetables. And
Yes,
then did you say month 3 is fruits?
yes. Month 3, if you want to add the apples, berries,
Berries, yeah.
strawberries. Yes. So tell me how that goes after the 3 months. You're going to start seeing, oh my goodness, your body is going to start cleansing itself out of all the toxins, of all the
Yes.
medication. So if you've been on medication, it's going to clear out that. It's going to start, regulating itself. Anyone who has been having irregular blood, menstrual cycles, because for me, it regulated my menstrual cycle. Endometriosis, after that first month, Dr. Pamela, for the first time, I did not have pain for my menstrual cycle. And that in itself is a miracle. I mean, all my years, 18 years old up till 33, I've had pain. And so that in itself was a miracle. And so that's why I kept going. I kept eating it, and this became a lifestyle. And once you start really getting the results within that month, you're gonna keep going because you finally, for me, that was freedom without having the pain. So I kept going with the second month. So the third month, oh, I didn't get to finish my my story, but yes, after the third month, no more pain. I mean, that in itself was amazing. And Tom and I, we grieved, we healed, we accepted the fact that we weren't going to have children, but we can still love in other capacities. So we booked a trip to Ireland to just kind of start a new chapter of our lives, to just celebrate God and what He did, and that my newfound freedom of being pain free.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a celebration. And yes, we celebrated. And then when we got back from our trip, I realized my menstrual cycle didn't come. And normally I always have it. Whatever cycle it is, I always have it. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to wait till the next month. Still next month, Dr. Peel, I still didn't get it. And I'm like starting to wonder, what's going on with my body? Is it going back to, did I do something wrong again? And the third month, I still didn't get in. So this time I started getting a little bit, what's going on? So I told my husband, and he had just this glimmer of hope, Dr. Pamela, this glimmer of hope, like, baby, let's just try to go to the supermarket and get a pregnancy test. So we darted to the nearest supermarket, Dr. Pamela. You know, the one where they keep the test behind glass doors and they lock it up. It's a digital one. So you
Right.
have to ask the pharmacist for the key to open. So we wanted to get the best digital test and get the test the very next morning. You get that very high, HCG urine sample.
Yeah.
And so my husband, I could even look at the test. I gave it to him, and he looked at it, and he looked at me, and he looked at it again. He's like, "Baby, it's positive.
Oh,
It's positive, Dr. Fan." I said, "Shut the front door." What? Kind of like what? And after everything that we've gone through, we Tom and I, we still didn't really believe, we've had so many disappointments, so many, so we held on to hope, but we wanted to make sure. So we researched the best OB-GYN. We got a new OB-GYN. God led me to a new OB-GYN. Like Dr. Pamela, I mean, it
So
was a yes.
keep going. It's amazing.
And we didn't really believe it until we got saw that proof. So we got a new OB-GYN, and he comes in, he puts me on the table, and he's like, yeah, there you go, you do, there is one heartbeat. And Tom and I, again, ugly cry, but a different circumstances this time. I mean, Tom and I were just wailing, and we're what, God, and I was still, it's very surreal. How is this even possible? And then, God, he does Ephesians 3:20. He goes abundantly
Abundantly.
above all that you can ever ask or imagine. Dr. Pat, he is so faithful. And then the doctor said, Min, there's the second heartbeat. We have twins. We were having twins. That is only God.
Yes.
We that is only, he did exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask. I mean, Tom and I, we were just literally bawling. And I mean, the doctor, I think we got him. He was crying with us. It was just such a powerful moment in our lives. We really felt like we won the lottery. It was even better than winning the lottery.
Yeah.
So for those women out there who believe it's not for you, God put that on your heart. I just want to tell you right now, you're not alone.
Right.
You're not alone. God is with you right there in your pain, in your wherever your deepest wounds. There is healing. That is an invitation to just cry out, and He is faithful. So He was faithful. He blessed us with twin boys, and they're 8 years old now, Dr. Pamela. And so I'm telling you, there is hope for healing, nutrients, dense food, holistic. So I am such a believer for this holistic path, and it starts with you. So you don't have to be on medication for the rest of life. You don't have to go through surgeries. And if IVF, if that didn't work for you either, there is still hope through my story. Please
Yeah.
know that there is hope. Yes. And so, yeah, Dr. Pamela.
Your story is so amazing, and you made me cry.
I still cry even yes, and so
What an incredible story. And it's all so powerful. One of my favorite parts about it, though, is your transparency of, hey, like, I like to eat the junk. Like,
I
I
do.
wanted to eat the processed food. Like, bring it on. You're not somebody that's saying, I grew up in this holistic environment. And even if
No.
you had, that was not the vein of life that you had chosen for yourself. So you made like the night and day switch.
Yes.
And so you know what it's like to go from maybe eating that dairy every day to not.
Oh,
You
yes.
know it. You're not just standing up there saying, well, dairy's not good for you. You understand the process of how that is a retraining inside of ourselves
Mhm.
to make that switch, and then what you end up with at the end, with not just to go from being told you'll never be able to biologically have children, you need a hysterectomy, 2 twins.
Yes. Then thankfully, I mean, can you imagine if I were to have that hysterectomy? I can't even imagine. Um,
Oh my
and
God.
yes, and I mean, I know the struggle again. I used to eat meat. I loved red meat. I used to eat all of that, the junk food, the processed everything. I know what that's like. And so you have to make that decision for yourself. Yeah.
And I love how you said that your brain will take you in the right direction, that if you
Yes.
choose it to be easy, then it's going to be easy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that doesn't mean that it's going to be like, oh, easy, like a Dairy Queen blizzard. Certainly your body's going through changes, it's cleansing. But
Mhm.
if you have that mindset that you're going to do this and it's going to be successful and you're going to find ways to enjoy it and have fun and it's an experience and a journey,
Yeah.
then that's the way that you will internalize it.
Yes.
So
And yeah, Dr. Pamela, and just baby steps. Don't think about the whole month. Just when I was going through the 7-day cleansing, it wasn't easy, Pamela. I mean, I'm telling you, that first day, I just took it minute by minute, second
yeah,
by second, hour by hour, all the small action steps compounds,
right, right.
compounds. And so just take it day by day, just hour by hour, and just
I love that.
nourish and remember your why. Why are you doing this? Why? Yes.
That must have been amazing talking about your why, because our why, my dear friend Ian Harvey says your why should make you cry. And so I
Yeah.
sort of adopted that as my own statement. I borrow it, and that doesn't mean those tears of pain, but when you had your first tears that you talked to us about right around your birthday, when you were told the bad news, right?
Yeah.
And God just started you on a journey. You really found your why in that moment. You might not have understood all of it, but those first ugly tears were taking you to your why. But then I see you in the doctor's office with your husband and the doctor, all of you crying, and there's 2 heartbeats, your why. And now
Yes.
your why has made you cry, but these are the happy, even if they were ugly tears, they're
Yeah.
the happy tears of joy. And you also brought up Ephesians 3:20 to the end of that chapter. Those are some of my life scriptures. But what you joined together, I just want to make sure that everybody sees this, is that does say that God he already has plans for you that are above anything. You can dream as big as you want. God's plans are still bigger. And
Yes. Yes.
people do super abundantly
Yes.
above
Amen.
anything
Yes.
that you could dream or think of, the Amplified says, right?
Yeah.
So dream big, but it's intertwined with us doing the work.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so God has these big dreams, but if we don't do the work that he is
Mm-hmm.
asking, and he said, I'm going to take you on a journey of self. I'm going to take you on a journey of self-love. And then took you and started taking you on this. Oh, I have goosebumps. You
Yeah.
said yes.
Yes.
You said yes to that journey. And now your works, your faith, we'll put it, because faith without works is of no value, right?
Amen.
So
Amen.
when
Yes.
we have faith in something, we move towards it. There's evidence, right?
Mhm.
So I like to say faith without evidence, or faith without contributing action is
Yes.
worthless, right?
Faith-filled action. Faith-filled action. Yes.
So good. So you took faith-filled action, and that was all. And I'm not saying that was all, because that was a lot, but you chose to take faith-filled action. And then Ephesians 3:20 to the end of the chapter
Amen.
has manifested in
Yes.
your life. Now,
And
you took it one step further, because you guys could rejoice right there, and you did, and you do. And you could be just skipping around the rest of your life all excited because you have twins and you found a whole new holistic way to live, and you're changed the trajectory of your physical health and of your genealogy, really,
yes. Yes.
for that. But then you were like, I think there's more. And now you're teaching others how to do that. And that is how I came into connection with you,
Yes.
through our wonderful coach, John Tallarico.
We love
Woo!
you, John Tellerico. Yes.
So, and we went through intensive training
Yeah.
together. And that's where I got to hear your story and how you were helping women in different areas of this life process.
Mhm.
So, how did you end up transferring into being, a health coach for women going through these different? What happened that it was? Did
Yes.
you just wake up and go, "Gee, I'm going to do this"? How did you end up where you are at?
Yes. That's such a great question, Dr. Pamela. And yeah, and I want to put in that that didn't happen overnight. That was another journey that God took me on, because that was 10 years ago. Okay. And
Mm,
it's 10 years later. Now I'm just sharing my story because
wow.
I wasn't ready to be the light, to shine the
Sure.
way God created me to be. I was still just l- little old Min, just not feeling. I mean, I've changed my life, but I just wasn't feeling. Who am I to share this story? No one. I guess I didn't. It didn't even come to share. Okay,
Right.
um, but
The
it.
word that comes to my mind is percolate. Do you remember those older I guess they would be coffee makers. My grandmother had one, and you put the coffee, you put the water, and you put the coffee grounds on. You put the lid on it, and then the water would heat up from underneath, and it would percolate. And when it was ready, it would
Yes. Okay.
it would let you know. And so it's like when you were saying that, I thought she's percolating. It needed to grow within you, and that
Yes.
you were ready, because now you're like, talk about being ready, like that you have percolated and you're like out there with the world. So anyways, I just wanted to share that word came up in my heart. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Because that was. I mean, it's amazing how God kind of created the path because I was at a point in my life then where God started speaking to me, sharing my message because I came across Mr. Les Brown and his message. And I started listening to his message. He got me to dream again because during my process where God led me, I was healed and I had my twins and I was living and I was doing this work, but it just wasn't. I feel that something was missing, right? And God brought Les Brown, Mr. Les Brown into my life, and it was because of Dr. Les Brown that I dreamed again for something bigger.
Yep.
Like God was speaking to you, Min. You need to share your story. It's time, and you need to share your story. It's not small. It's not something that it was something easy. You need to share. So it was just something that was just I know you can't explain it. The Holy Spirit. It was where Holy Spirit just leads you, and it was just on nagging on me where I was like, no, I don't think that's for God, and until the point where God just pursues and says, yes, it is time. And so it's either out of faithfulness. You're either going to be faithful to what he's saying because I don't want to die. And Dr. Les Brown, he says a lot of people die with dreams in the grave, dreams in
Mhm.
the grave. And that really spoke to me. And I do not want to die with whatever it is that God, I want to be able to say at the end of my life, I fulfilled the calling that God had on my life to the fullest, the highest. I don't
Yeah.
want to die in that sense. So that's how I slowly began. Dr. Lismer, I dreamed again. I started dreaming big dreams. I started envisioning helping more women who are going through endometriosis and just going into the communities again and just joining these support groups for our endometriosis sisters. So many are hurting, are in pain, and thankfully now there's more awareness, but it's still underserved. We are underserved. The endometriosis community, women, or even women in general, um, this empowerment to take our power back and start advocating it. It's so strong that we have the power, and I am living proof of that. And it's time that women are stepping up and realizing their divine, power within themselves, and that God can take them there. We're just willing, right? And
Yeah.
so that's how it just unraveled. I mean, Les Brown and I got to meet him. We also went to our breakthrough with John Tallarico. I mean, that was a breakthrough as well. And just sharing the story. And so that's how I became, yes, that's where I started helping, women to especially the endometriosis, everything that I went through. I can guide you there. I'm going to take you there and to have that to knowingness that it is possible for you. And so that's how I came to just do it. And I love it. I love it. And you grow up, you want to do something you love. And I can honestly say wholeheartedly, I am so in love with this calling that God put me here. And it's just I found it. And and so yes, that's how I came to becoming this holistic and just sharing my story and making impact. And one of my clients that I was able to work with, I've been, God brought the right clients to me who are ready. I mean, she had gone through massive surgeries after surgeries, and the doctors, they just basically, there's this word that they say, they feel, a lot of our sisters are feeling gaslighting. That's called, they think this pain, oh, you got to be stronger. That's nothing, and they're not being heard. They're not
Right.
being seen. They're not being valued. They're just being dismissed. And that starts to take a toll on our women, mentally. And they start to question, maybe it is me, maybe it is, but it's not.
Right.
Oh, follow that intuition. You have every right to feel the way, and it doesn't feel right, then that is there. Embrace that. Embrace that pain, because within that pain, the sadness, whatever it is, there is healing there. Okay?
Yes. Oh my.
Embrace your sadness. Embrace if you're going through anxiety, depression because of it, embrace it. Love yourself through that,
Mm.
because loving self-compassion for yourself, because you can give that to yourself. And with
Wow.
Jesus, God's love, that is powerful to begin your healing journey. And so these women, they were feeling victims. And I want women to know, you're not a victim. Your diagnosis is not your destiny. You're
Yes.
not a victim. Get that out of, because once we start getting out of that victim mindset, you have power and start taking ownership of it and being free of it. You can free yourself, whatever it is. It's not your destiny. And so that's how she was able to free herself of medication. She had these cysts that would, and I know a lot of women, they suffer through cysts as well.
Yeah.
Going through the whole natural 3-month process, she started regulating her cycle. And I know bloating, diarrhea, constipation, all of that has to heavy flow. Within the 3 months, they were all gone. Her body began to heal itself. And so these are case studies that we are building, knowing that following this path, it is healing. So she is another case study, another testimony
Yes.
that she healed, and she's a women of prayer night. And God brought us, and she was able to just know that the God brought us together. These are divine
Oh,
interventions.
oh my.
And in 3 months, she is off medication, no more surgeries for her. I mean, she knows now, she has a specialized knowledge and the tools to
Right.
know how to nourish her mind, body, and soul, because it really did start also with loving herself. She protected her energy. You got to protect yourself from any
Yes.
negativity.
That's
So
true.
when you're nourishing, you also nourish your mind. So what is it that you're listening to? Is it empowering you? These empowering thoughts, you have to protect that as well.
Oh my gosh. It's now, how many months did you say that was for her who you're speaking
Three
about?
months.
3 months. That's what I thought she said.
3 months. 3 months is all it takes. And women, they're going through lifetimes, decades,
Yeah.
still in pain. Decades. I mean, for me, I was, from 18 to 33. How many decades was that, Dr. Pamela?
Right. And you could have dealt with it in 3 months.
And yes, and our young women in their 20s, even now, teenagers, they're suffering through this, and doctors, they don't know.
Well,
And I want them to know, you don't have to wait until you're 30 trying to have a baby to get to stage 4. If it's stage 1 of endometriosis in your teens, let's get it at stage 1. Don't wait till
that's a
stage 4.
question. Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
So, I have a couple of I have 3 daughters, but I have two that are in the teenage years right now, early teenage years.
Mm.
As a mom, should I be looking for certain symptoms that would alert me to, like, maybe I should put them on this 3-month cleanse? Is there something that moms should be looking for to try to help them? Because if it is starting there, can we thwart that at a really young age, or are they just too young? Oh, don't mess with it until they're 18. Or can we start when they're 13 or 14?
Absolutely, Dr. Pamela. Why not start now? Because they don't need to wait. You don't need to wait to get, because any this cleansing or nourishing, it's beneficial for any sacred temple. right? But one of the key things I want parents to know who are going through this is if your daughter is to the point where it's impacting her daily living, where she's
Mhm.
throwing up. Because I remember hovering over the toilet, throwing up because the pain was so debilitating, where I had to miss school.
Yeah,
That is not normal. That is not a normal menstrual cycle.
right.
Throwing up and where you have to be bedridden for
Mhm,
days. You
mhm.
can't just getting up out of bed takes its toll on you.
Yep, yep.
That's not a normal cycle. That's not normal. Where it impacts her daily living and where she has to go through medication because I remember even Midol, just any of those that didn't help at all to and just putting this heat and just being in this fetal position all the time that those are signs and they're missing school because of it. And I've spoken to many young women who doctors have said a hysterectomy is going to stop the pain and they're
Mm,
willing to sacrifice the chance to even be a mother because the pain is so debilitating.
right.
They're just okay, that's fine. They just sign that off.
Make the pain
And
go away,
and
right?
why does that have to be the first option, doctors? I why is that the most? I mean, that to me is so invasive.
Yeah,
Why not be willing to go with this least invasive route first? Because
right.
thankfully, that was the first route that I did, that I didn't even have to go through the rest of those other options. And what if that is your first and only option, and
Come on.
that can be for the rest of your life? And I've been living pain-free, chronic pain-free for almost 10 years now, Dr. Pamela.
Wow, 10
10
years.
years. And it's so and I'm not saying that I don't have to eat, I'm not saying you have to eat this way for the rest of your life because I don't. I've incorporated fish back into my life, eat chicken. The only thing I don't eat is red meat because I know for my body. So again, you listen to your body at that time. But
Sure,
I'm back, I eat chicken, but I'm still nourishing my bodies. I have the tools and the knowledge now of what
right.
my body needs. And so you're not giving that up. You're investing. Everything you do is an investment. And so, yeah,
That
so
is good. That is so good. And I love that. I love how you say that you've added these things back into your diet. And, it's all about that. At some point, when the cleansing part, that initial cleansing is complete, there is that moderation, things in moderation. It
yes.
doesn't mean that you're not ever going to be able to have your chicken again, or if your
Yeah.
kid
Or the
I can never have a sliver of cake. There is having a sliver of cake, and then there's having cake as a diet, right?
yes, yes. And I mean,
So,
I still have ice cream. I'm eating ice cream again. You just bring back, yes. So,
and
mhm,
that whole key is moderation, but also monitoring. If you
mhm.
have that and or you start having too much of it, I'm sure your body's going to be like, knock, knock, here we go. I'm letting you know that this isn't working. And
Yes.
so another question I have for you is, so we've identified that you're not too young. What
Yes.
on the other end, are you too old, or somebody like myself who I did have a hysterectomy? I still have my ovaries, but I did have everything else removed because of endometriosis, just like you're speaking about. So should I look at doing this? Is a woman too
Yes.
old? If she's gone through menopause, she's postmenopausal. Never, is there ever a time when it's not relevant?
Not at all, Dr. Pamela. I mean, I would say food is thy medicine. Okay, one of the things that I know is think about this medicine, it's not for healthcare. Food is for healthcare.
Oh, that's so good. Say that
Medicine,
again. Say that again. That is so good.
medicine is not healthcare. Food is healthcare.
Healthcare.
Medicine is sick care.
Oh,
Think about
God.
that. It's sick care. So when
Man,
you are nourishing your food as healthcare, age is there's limitless age. It's never too young. So Dr. Pamela, I encourage you try. It doesn't hurt, right? You have everything to gain, nothing to lose. Nothing to
that is
lose.
so encouraging. So, ladies out there
Yes.
that are going through menopause, if you've had a hysterectomy, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that it's not relevant for you. You know,
Yeah.
this could still be a game changer and a life changer. And remember what she said, that's health care. When you are doing these things, it's health care. So I
Yes.
love that. And I know that after my hysterectomy, and as I said, it had to do with the whole endometriosis thing. But my doctor, who is very um, uh, holistic conscious, as well as, you know, very educated, obviously, in the medical conventional medicine,
Mhm.
said to me, now, just because all of this is gone doesn't mean that even though you had a hysterectomy, doesn't mean it can't come back.
See, yes, and that's the thing. And even when I start posting on these support groups, I said I'm free from it. They would say, "Don't be spreading lies. That's a lie. Why are you telling these women these false information?" Right? It
Right.
can come back. It can come back. How do you know it's not in your body? Again, God, as God knows, I know my body. If I'm not experiencing pain, that is suffice enough for me
Come on.
in my body. I don't need another surgery to go in and tell myself that I'm free. I don't need the doctors to go in and tell me. I know my body. If I am living pain free from this,
Right.
that is enough for me.
Well, and that could have been so discouraging. Like, I just went through all of this, and now you're telling me, even though I don't have all those reproductive parts, that it could come
Yeah.
back. But what I'm hearing you say through the cleansing and through this holistic approach is, okay, so this is a way to knock it out of the ballpark. Maybe medically speaking, they can never tell you that. But if, ladies, if you had that type of diagnosis or you went through something similar to me, do this cleansing, check it out, give it a shot, reach out to this woman. What if you doing this means that it doesn't come back? What if that means you're not in pain in 5 years? Whatever the case may be, I just want to say that I think that there is a lot of room for further education in the area of real healthcare, and that's nutrition. And so I love that. I have one more question for you before we wrap up. And I know we should have you come back and talk about this in like greater detail, but can you just give us a little blurb? And then seriously, when I'm saying that, we'll have to have you come back and camp on this. Um, you have had some great breakthroughs with clients in the area of intimacy.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and so can you just give a little commercial on that, and then we'll have you come back and talk about that another time, because I think that that deserves an entire episode, a full broadcast together,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people out there at different ages. You know, you get married, or even if you're not married and you're like, oh, love life is amazing, and then 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, 20 years, and it's like, I've lost that love and feeling, man, so
Yes.
part of what you do is help people recapture that. So can you just hit some of the highlights of that for us?
Yes, Dr. Pamela, great question. Thank you for asking that because I mean, initially through serving my clients, that wasn't part of the value that I've added, but I God brought me to helping this couple that I've had the honor to work with, going through this same journey, the fertility journey that I went through. And it came in all the conversations that I've had with women through with the endometriosis, with the chronic, sex,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, that is a reality and
yeah,
how it's impacted their relationship. Some of them have ended relationships, have had to go through painful divorces because of
yeah.
this acid, because it affects all aspects of your life. So relationship wise, I mean, just for me going through the infertility with my husband, our intimacy, it started being more like, and I full disclosure, I'm being very transparent now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very robotic. And I don't
Right.
know if women can relate. I mean, you gotta, okay, let's go. Let's just try this. It's time. And you lose, you're in such a fight or flight, your body fight or flight
Yeah.
mode. How can your body be ready, and it should be loving and natural, and so that part, when I released that for my body, the painful intimacy, the because it started putting a strain on our marriage. And Tom
Absolutely.
and I started reconnecting again and just, okay, let's take a break from trying so hard to have this baby, because that was just our focus, the stress. And let's just try to cultivate our love for one another, intimacy, where we reconnect, because sex should be enjoyed, it's pleasurable. I mean, God said, within our marriage, it's a sacred divine act of
Yeah.
love. And so we forget that, and how sensuality and intimacy, these are some underlining issues that the couples are going through. And
Yes.
so to reconnect, I have one couple that, I mean, they were now so much more in love with each other, that I'm working with them, where they've connected intimately, where they actually see one another. They've learned things about it. You forget each other, your desires, your fears. The being vulnerable is such a sacred, intimate fear,
Yeah.
that a lot of us, are you willing to just be raw and vulnerable with your partner, your spouse, to share all of those fears, to connect in those sense? And they were able to go there with each other and just lay it all out, and that's where they began to heal. They
Mm.
spoke truth to one another. And so going through and adding that value to seeing these couples just reconnect again and just have fun again, because it should be fun, and they're just doing new things, discovering sexual pleasures with each other, and it's just so exciting to witness, and they're willing to go there. So
I love
yes,
that. I love that. And I love how you are such a woman of faith, and that's not a taboo subject.
it's
And
not, it shouldn't be.
it's,
Yes,
it's
God
absolutely be.
God wanted us to procreate. I mean, how are we to? I mean, that is an intimate act that God ordained. I mean, let's have fun, and it's not time. So I feel once we get through, and it first starts with you, the self love, to love your body just as it is. And
Yeah.
if for those of you who aren't, who do not have a partner, you can do this single as well, because once you love yourself and you know your worth, for all my single ladies, if you know your worth, you're walking around as if you are a diamond, a
Yeah.
divine goddess. You are millionaire worthy. There is no value to it. You walk around, you hold that within you,
Yes.
embody it. So that's what I teach them, to embody their worth. Oh, you're gonna be attracting that high caliber man, and you don't need to wait. You can start right now with you, just loving you just where you are, valuing you, because Jesus, He loves us so. And so when we see our value, the right man, you can be in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, I believe. And God's soulmate, who God has for you, He's gonna find you. Don't even worry about it.
Right there. Right
He's
there.
gonna find you right there. He's gonna be rolling up in that, wherever He is. He's gonna find you. So don't worry. You just focus on loving you, because the best relationship you can have is a relationship with Jesus, but
Mhm.
with relation with you, the self love for you, because Jesus teaches us He loves us so much. But if we don't love ourselves to that degree, then
Yeah.
how can you give out? How can you pour out? So you need to receive that love for yourself. So that intimacy is into me. I see within me first. So
That
all
is
you say, ladies, yes, it's just start with yourself. And so I also help single women know how to just going through their sensuality and just loving their sacred time just where they are too.
I
Just like
love that. We want to have you come back and we'll camp on those topics. Would you come back and camp on those topics with me?
oh, definitely, Dr. Ed. That gets me excited too. Yeah.
An amazing, and you know what, it's subjects that we need to approach them, we need to have those discussions. And I am not somebody that's taboo against it. I want it because I want women to see who they are. I want couples to achieve that greatness that God has given to them. So we're going to do that, y'all. We're going to have her come back and we're going to talk about that. But before we wrap up today, how do people find you and reach out to you and connect with you, men?
Oh, yeah. So endotransformation.com. You can reach out to me there. Min at endotransformation.com. and just you can reach out to me, Dr. Pamela, find me there. I'm on Endo Transformation. Just search for there.
Perfect. And that's all in the description.
Yes.
And so you can follow up with her. So do Min and I a huge favor. That share button, why don't you share this message with somebody who needs it? Let's help take Min's message of hope and transformation around the globe. You can email
Yeah.
it, send it. I mean, let's take this worldwide because people need to hear that there's another option. And you can find it, it blends with brown rice. Like, who knew? This is amazing. Min, thank you so much for being on the broadcast today. You are such a treasure, and I love you so much.
Yes, I love you too, Dr. Pepper, and thank you so much for having me. Really, everything that you represent and you just being a divine goddess in your journey. I just love that we were able to build our relationship, and so I'm very thankful for that.
I'm so thankful for you. Thank you so much, Min. We'll have you back again really soon. And thank you to everybody for coming. I know that you got lots of downloads today. Reach out to Min and get some more information from her. Let us know if you're going to do that 7-day cleansing. Tag us, tag our names. If you're not following us on social media, you can find us both. All that information is in the description, and tag us and say, hey, I'm on day 1 of my cleansing, so that we can encourage you and be a cheerleader to you. As always, everybody, you know you're here on purpose with a purpose, by design, not by default. So go on out there and keep being the salt and the light everywhere you go. We'll see you next time. Bye.